Welcome to Strong by Nature, your portable campfire sessions for living strong, balanced, and connected, the Grizzly way. When most people think of mindfulness, they picture sitting cross-legged in silence. But what if mindfulness was something you could carry into your training, cooking, even while doing some repairs around the house? That's what I want to unpack today. So I used to think mindfulness was just meditation, but I realized I was already practicing it in movement. Mindfulness, when I kind of look back to before I really got into meditation, I was already getting up early and I was going for runs. That was like the first sort of part of building a morning routine, was just getting up, getting out the door and going for a run. And while I was going for these runs, I started learning a little bit more about breath work, as we spoke about in the last episode. So one of the things I was learning about breath work and how to make sure I was, not impacting either side of my body too much, I was doing what was called a 3-4 breathing. So breathing in for 3 steps and breathing out for 4 steps. And just by doing that, you're not always impacting the same side of your body, because breathing in and impacting the ground at the same time, like it has an impact. Breathing out and impacting the same time has an impact. Everything's fucking jolting around in your body. So if you can mix it up, you're going to avoid injuries on one particular side. So by starting to do this, I then had to switch away from listening to music while I was running, especially early on. Like I'm a musician, so I don't want to sound like an asshole, but maybe I just listen to music differently. But doing that 3-4 breath while I was listening to music, it would fuck me up, because I'm breathing in a different pattern to what the music is playing at, and it just got fucking confusing. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to stop listening to music for a while I do these short runs, just to sort of nut out this breathing pattern until it becomes a habit. And so by doing that, I was going for these runs, I was just focused on my breathing, just focused on what was going on around me. And like once I really started to understand what I was trying to do with meditation and practicing mindfulness, I was like, well, fuck, I'm already fucking doing that. Like I'm being so present while I'm running. I'm just being so aware of my breath and being aware of my body and being aware of all of this. And I'm not just getting lost in music. I'm not just getting lost in a daydream. So I was already practicing it before I really thought about it. And as well, like thinking back even to that now, like that really is mindfulness in its actual purest form, like, because we're just being present. We're just practicing awareness. Like, it doesn't have to be this wanky thing that everybody's making mindfulness all about. Got the rubbish truck driving past, but we'll carry on. So also, like, a lot of this is going to be tying in with breathing as well, right? So again, going to jiu-jitsu is a perfect example of practicing mindfulness as well, because when you're in these situations, like people say it all the time about jiu-jitsu, like when you're having a roll and like you're in those fucking death matches, you're not really aware of anything else going on around you. Like you're not listening to the music. Like people are screaming out advice, but you can't really pay attention. Like you're so aware of what's going on. You're aware of keeping your breath calm. You're aware of where their pressure is on your body. You're aware of where your pressure is. You're aware of where everything is, because you're looking for a limb to attack. You're looking to establish a more dominant position. So you're very aware of yourself and your control in these moments, especially as you get further on in the journey. Early on as a white belt, you're not fucking aware of anything, but as you get better and more understanding with this, jiu-jitsu becomes a very fucking powerful mindfulness tool. Again, somewhere else I find myself practicing this is when I'm cooking. So I really enjoy cooking. I like making stuff from scratch. I like the idea of being able to do it all myself, but I don't really like being stuck in with the rules of a recipe. When I'm baking, yeah, I'll follow a recipe because baking is fucking science, but cooking, I like to sort of play around with my own tastes a little bit. And so I'll have my big stirring spoon, and then I'll have a little teaspoon. Like I'm constantly tasting while I'm cooking, just to make sure that I'm getting the balances right and I'm getting the flavor that I'm after. Like I like to smell things before eating, especially if it's something new. I like to smell things. I like to smell herbs before adding them in, just to make sure that, you know, the aroma is going to be right. I like being aware of the textures of the different foods I want in dishes, especially with like vegetables. Like use a stir fry, for example. If you just chuck everything in all at the same time, some shit's going to be mushy as fuck, because certain vegetables cook a whole lot faster than others, and you don't want mushy stir fry. So just adding things in at different times, and just being aware of the cook times of the things that I'm eating, because, you know, you've usually got your protein frying away, you've got your veggies doing something, you've probably got your rice or your pasta or your potatoes or something doing something else. Typically those starchy carbs take a lot longer to cook, so you start with those. You don't start with a soft, quick cooking vegetable and then leave it on the plate, or just leave it fucking burning away on the grill. Like, you've got to put things on at different times. And then lately as well, with gardening is a new time. I've been practicing mindfulness, because you can't rush watering, you can't rush the weeding, you can't rush any really step of it, can you? You can't rush the pruning. So you've just got to slow down and just enjoy the moment, be aware of what's going on. You start to look at these plants, and you start to know when it's got its little, what are they called, their little suckers, or when leaves need to be pruned, when they're starting to dry off. You know, you start to become aware of this. You start to become aware of their individual watering cycles and everything. And it's the same now as well with woodworking, now that I'm getting back into this in a slightly different way as well. Like, here in Ecuador, I don't have the tools I used to have. We're still building that up. I've inherited some. We've bought a few kind of cheapy ones, as we kind of just need them to get started with everything. But I don't have access to the shit I used to have access to. Like, I don't have a drop saw, so I've got to be more accurate with my cuts with my circular saw. I don't have a table saw. I don't have straight edges and clamps and everything to make sure that I'm cutting in a perfectly straight line. So I've been doing a bit of stuff with plywood lately, and cutting a big long length of plywood when you've only got your skill saw and you've got nothing to keep you perfectly straight. Like, you have to slow right down. You have to slow your thought down. You even have to slow your breathing down, because if you start breathing too erratically, your movements start coming through the saw, and you get that cut a little bit wonky. Then you're spending more time with the sander getting everything straight again. So yeah, just the woodworking at the moment, and slowing down with that, I've become so much more aware of the process, and enjoying everything so much more than I used to. And again, with soul, with being a parent, just becoming more present and more mindful and more aware in these moments have been huge. I mean, one example is, we were laughing the other day, like, the playgrounds here are just so fucking rough, and like just so not well thought through. Like, you get some nice ones that have obviously been like professionally made by professional, you know, playground makers, but for the vast majority of them, like, they've just fucking chucked shit in. Like, this, like, they haven't thought about the angle that the slide is coming down on, and they haven't thought about, you know, how steep the ladder and shit like that is. So you can't take a 3-year-old down to some of these playgrounds and then just veg out on your phone, because she's climbing fucking 2 meters up into the air on a slide that's way steeper than it should be, coming down like a fucking rocket. It's you know, you've got to be aware. You've got to be playing. You've got to be doing these things with her, and that just moves over into everything. Like, I keep seeing these posts that just hit so hard about how you don't know the last time you're going to pick your child up. You know, you, like, 80% of the time you're ever going to spend with your child is up until they're like fucking 10 years old or something like that. So those kind of things, like, whether it's super accurate or not, like, there's obviously some element of truth there. So that it makes you want to spend so much more time and be so much more present with them when you have those moments. Because there's been days, like, I'm not going to bullshit it, there's been days where I kind of just, you know, we've got shit to do, or, you know, we're tired, so we'll just put a movie on and we'll just fuck around on our phone. And you go to bed at night and you think, like, fucking hell, like, that was like 2 hours I could have been doing shit with her. Like, yeah, no, it's cool to watch movies as well, like, but watching them with her is so much cooler than just putting a movie on to entertain her and just doing my own shit. Like, just being there with her, enjoying the moments, and hearing her commentary on these fucking Frozen movies that I've seen a million times. But still, you know, it's all just about slowing down as a parent, slowing down and enjoying the moment. Going back again to this idea of mindfulness in motion, that that just works so much better for me. Like I struggle with sitting down and just closing my eyes and focusing on my breathing with that form of meditation. I do it, but it's difficult. But I love to just go for a run and just think about my breathing while I'm running. Like I practice mindfulness in those times. I like going and doing a workout down at the beach with no music on and not even having my phone there, just wearing a watch so that I'm aware of time, but just being in that moment, like feeling the sand while I'm training, and feeling the sun, hearing the ocean, and all those kinds of things. Like that's practicing mindfulness. That's a form of meditation as well. We're just coming back in on our thoughts in a more pure way. And as well, going back to our phones, like there's a massive difference between being there and being there, right? Like what I was saying, like you take them down to the park and you go and play these games, but you're on your phone the whole time looking at shit that doesn't matter, that you're not going to fucking remember anyway, as opposed to just watching them play, watching them discover, watching them interact with other kids, just seeing them develop these fucking important skills. It used to kill me going along and helping out. I was helping out with the kids classes at the jiu-jitsu gym I was at in New Zealand, and just sitting there and you're watching these kids perform these fucking incredible things and building confidence in themselves, and just fucking experiencing something so new and beautiful, a lot of the time for the first times. And you look over and their parents are just sat there on their phone. I'm like, fucking hell, man. Like, what are you seeing that's more important than your kid building confidence in themselves right now? Fucking hell, someone's going hard on their motorbike today. So yeah, mindfulness isn't a practice you only do sitting still. It's a way of being present in whatever you're doing. Like, it just, again, mindfulness doesn't have to be this fucking wanky thing that some fucking douchebag with abs is trying to get you to buy his fucking program for. Mindfulness in training, noticing how your body moves, being more aware of your mind muscle connection, being more aware of what it is you're actually trying to achieve with that exercise, and thinking how this particular movement is going to affect your everyday life. I was having a cool conversation with somebody the other day, a friend of mine from back home, and he was talking about how he's living in a townhouse now, and it's got stairs, and just being aware for the first time that he's never really thought about what his body is doing going up and down stairs. He used the phrase, he just leans forward and just fucking lets his back do all the work. But when he actually slowed down and thought about what his legs and his muscles are supposed to be doing in every step, and feeling them engaged as he's going up and down the steps every day, he said that lower back pain he was experiencing is gone. And I thought that was just such a fucking beautiful way to put mindfulness in training and in exercise. I know that's not training, but I mean it kind of is, like going up and down stairs. It's a micro workout, is it not? You do it correctly, it's a micro workout. So just being aware of actually what your body is actually doing in those moments, and even like hopping in and out of a car, like being aware of where you're engaging and where you're bracing as you're sitting down, and what muscles you're using to pull yourself back up. Like, are we just overusing our back in all of these different areas where we should be using our actual pulling and pushing muscles in other parts of our body? And yeah, being more mindful in your work, your craft, like I said, like I've been doing a bit of the woodworking again, and doing the gardening, just being more mindful, being more present in those moments. So I could stand there and water the garden and just hold my phone and read the news and not really think about what I'm doing, but I like to go out there, no distractions, and watch the water hitting the dirt, make sure I'm actually getting the hose in close to the base of the plant, and make sure I'm getting it as close to the roots as possible. And again, like being aware of, like, okay, is this how dry or damp is this soil? Am I actually benefiting and helping the plant here, like even before watering, and even just during the day, I'll walk around, come out to the garden, I'll look at the plants, and you can see some that the tips are getting a little bit brown or yellow. So it's like, okay, what do I need to do with this plant? Just being more aware in general, rather than just walking around thinking about the next time we're going to look at our phone, and being more mindful in family life. Like, it's been nice the last couple of weeks, because like we're on new fucking internet plans, and everything's just fucking different here, trying to get things scheduled and this and that, and organising bill payments. And so we've had a couple of moments where our phone plans have run out of data, and we were trying to do like a transition with changing our Spotify accounts over to a family plan here, and there was this big fuck around with that. So one of us had premium, the other one didn't, so the ads get annoying, and then we ran out of internet on one of our phones. So doing these long drives back and forwards with Waiakea lately, and having these patches where the signal cuts out on the phone that had the premium, and then no, we don't want to bother connecting my phone because we got ads and it's annoying. So just having these 10-15 minute windows of just no music on the drive, and just talking and noticing stuff outside the car, and just laughing about random shit that we're seeing while we're driving. Like, that's been cool lately, just to experience these mundane tasks in a completely different way. Modern life, like the way we live, and the tools that we've gotten used to, mainly our phones and fucking screens and that, like they're a trap of distraction. Like, even like I'll try and hide my phone from like my line of vision while I'm working, like I'll pop it behind my laptop screen, or I'll sit it behind me somewhere where I can't see it. I have it on do not disturb during the day, so none of my apps have notifications turned on, so I've literally got to open it and have a look and see if somebody's messaged or anything like that. Obviously, with do not disturb mode, like if someone's really trying to ring you, the second time they ring, it goes through. And if it's important, they'll ring you. Like, no one's going to send you a text saying they're fucking dying, are they? They're gonna ring you if they really need help. So having it on do not disturb during the day is a game changer. But even then, like I'll sat there at my laptop, and there's probably somewhere I can go into the settings to change this, but like you open up a browser and it opens up with a news page first, because it's trying to fucking lure you into that shit. So all of these news article headlines and that, they're designed to get you clicking on shit, right? So like there's always these distractions around us. There's always ads popping up on shit trying to pull you away. It makes it difficult to be mindful in all of these moments where there's constantly shit trying to pull you in for a sale. Like functional training, like that's a word like I'm getting over seeing and hearing myself. There's got to be a better way to kind of rephrase this, but then even if we do, it'll just become a buzzword again at some point anyway. Mindfulness has become a buzzword that all of these fucking woohoo elite fucking influencers are throwing out there, and like we get overhearing it, but it is something we need to be practicing. We need to be practicing presence. We need to be more aware of ourself and our surroundings in these moments, and that's more what it's all about. Like, focus more on what mindfulness actually feels like to you, rather than what the world is telling you what to expect and how it should and shouldn't be. During movement, during these things that we're doing every day, again, our cooking, our exercise, all of these things, just practice being more mindful, being more aware of what's going on, being more present in that moment, actually enjoying and smelling and tasting and hearing and using all of our senses, rather than just being numb to these moments. So our practical takeaways from this episode is practice mindfulness in a meal today. So cook and eat one meal with no distractions, no phones. Be aware of the textures. Think about every individual thing on that plate and that dish, and try and experience them individually and in unison But like be aware of how the texture of this dish, the flavor of the dish, the smell of the dish, everything while you're cooking and while you're eating. And also practice this in movement during during a workout this week. Notice each breath, even just for one repetition, one round, but just be aware of your breathing. Be aware of the actual muscles that you're using on a particular exercise. Be aware of how that particular exercise translates over into your day-to-day life. So like a squat, you're hopping up and down out of a chair. A push-up, like you need to look and see something underneath the couch and get yourself back up again. So just think about these exercises that you're performing week in and week out without really paying too much of attention. Think about how this actually translates over into your real life. And practice it. Spend 5 minutes, just 5 minutes, fully present with somebody. No multitasking. Just sit down and just talk. Don't have distractions going on around you. Don't be chopping up the vegetables. Just sit down and just be present and aware, and take notice of their facial expressions while they talk. Take notice of their mannerisms. I'm not going to say stand there and fucking smell them and fucking absorb them, but just be more aware of those little things, and see things you pick up. See little cues you pick up from the way they talk. See how you respond. Are you mirroring their mannerisms? I want to hear your guys' thoughts. I want your experiences and everything and all of this. So please share one thing that pulled you fully into the moment this week. I'd love to hear your version of mindfulness in motion. Mindfulness doesn't have to be stillness. It can be chopping onions. It can be drilling a piece of wood. It can be rolling on the mats, or it can be listening to your kid. It's about being here fully in whatever you're doing. Stay strong, stay balanced, stay connected.